to all of you, but she's an activist, an artist, an academic, a mother, and a great friend to me, and I'm so happy that she's here. Stella, welcome to Nairobi, welcome to Kenya, welcome to Kombozi Library, welcome to Comrades Book House, welcome to Kisumu, to Nairobi, to Mombasa, welcome. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you very much, Nosim, and I'm emotional. I'm very emotional. Ordinarily, I'm a very strong person, and I didn't even carry a handkerchief because I thought I'm going to go there and I'm going to be badass, as usual. And the poets who started, they just knocked me out. Because, you know, Nosim, you're my friend, and I know you're my friend and you love me. I didn't know that your friends loved me, and I didn't know that Kenyans loved me. And just now I saw a lot of love. I saw a lot of love. And I will tell you what, for those of us who are combat hardened, love knocks us out because it doesn't come often. So thank you very much for loving me. And it's very affirming. There is love that coddles you and spoils you and it suffocates you and it murders you. But the love in Kenya is tough love, but it's real love. Thank you for loving me.
That's real love.
And thank you for bringing me back. I didn't think I'd come back quickly, but you made it happen, Nosim. Thank you for taking me to Ukombozi and for introducing me to Comrade's house. And now you've brought me here. Thank you, Nosim.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's not only on me, it's a collective effort of all the comrades in Kombozi, in Comrades Book House. They're all your friends now also. So we are sharing families, we are sharing friends, we are sharing nations. You're welcome here, even if you're not entirely welcome in Uganda. But you also have strong roots and strong family there, I know. How is it, if we can start with that, how is your relationship now with Uganda?
You want the truth?
Yes. Always.
So I am a Ugandan. It doesn't matter what happens. I am a Ugandan. And because I'm a Ugandan, I will be buried in the soil of Uganda. So my first relationship with a Ugandan is, I am a Ugandan. And because I am a Ugandan Muslim, it's a difficult relationship because I know that I belong. And because I belong, I want to belong in a place like here, where I can sit in the National Theatre at Ukumbi Mdogo, next to a CPS or a PS, and say my poetry. And if I want to call out the new president, Ruto, I say, Ruto, thank you for the manure and fertilizer, but we want. And now that I'll go back home, so my relationship with Uganda is difficult. Because the truth that comes from women such as myself and yourself and every woman truth teller and all our women champion truth tellers and all the male truth tellers, unfortunately, it makes staying home difficult. So my current official title is Writer in Exile. I am an exilee. Which means I can't go home. And I came to Kenya because I can't go home. I want to go home. I want to see black people. I'm not racist, but I really wanted to see black people. I will tell you, I told you I'm a truth teller, yeah? Yes. We had elections in 2021. I was in the opposition and they say we lost. Elections were stolen. Okay? And then I had Kenya was having elections. And I was supporting the one who lost. I supported him publicly because I needed to support the opposition. Opposition in Kenya is difficult to understand, right? No, you're not a truth teller. I'm a truth teller. So you're asking me how it is to be at home. At home I'm in the opposition. And I thought, well, I will just side with the opposition in Kenya. And I was told, are you sure they're the opposition? But when the elections happened, my heart bled because I wasn't ready for the loss. And I hoped maybe that Jebukati guy, maybe they will catch him, okay? And they didn't catch him. The courts worked, and your courts are respected. And so I went to Kibera, because I thought, hey, they are in Kibra. I might have some people to be with, and we roll up. You know, I usually wear trousers inside. You don't have the skirts and you give up. When I went to Kibera, Kibra, it was nice. And people were saying to me, Tumetulia. Yes, that's what I was looking for. I said, Tumetulia. But my heart was grieving because I wanted to come to Kenya and witness handover of power. I had prepared handover of the regime to the opposition. I had prepared. If the opposition doesn't win, we shall protest. Yes. There was no protest. And I have learned from Kenyans that biashara has to go on. Biashara has to go on. We career and what? Biashara goes on. If I were in Uganda and I was in the opposition, I would go to jail. Okay? So when I ran to Kenya for asylum in January 2021, my lover had been abducted. His party members are being abducted. I have not heard of an abduction. Actually, people have been abducted and put in a drone because they were in the opposition. Have you? Not yet. That's important to say. So what brought me to Kenya is to say, okay, Ruto has won. I can't do things, Uganda. I can't go home and say to them, protect what you have. Those of you who resist, continue resisting. Because we don't know, not yet. None of the opposition have been combated like I was, or my lover was, or all the NUP brothers were, or all the other women dissidents were. Guard your democracy. Guard your freedoms. Guard the fact that a dissident, we are a dissident. If Ruto is in power, I will criticize Ruto every day. It doesn't matter. If Babawa is in power, I will criticize him because I'm what? I'm a dissident. I will make you accountable because I pay my tax. I will make you accountable because my vote supported to put you on. But in Uganda, I can't do that. So my complicatedness with Uganda comes from there. But you know what? I'm a Ugandan. And Uganda will die with me until the day I die. And the reason why I write my poetry is after I am dead, they will remember. They will remember me because of my words. And today you see, is President Museveni's birthday. Is it his birthday today? So we don't know how old he is. When he wanted to change the constitution, this matters are serious. Your constitution hasn't been tampered with. Our president wanted to extend his term limit. So he removed term limits from the constitution. When he wanted to remove the age limits, the presidential safeguards against abuse of power, term limits you people have. Who you might want after 2, age limit. At a particular age, you do what? Museveni and Kagame, both of them were here. They have tampered with their constitutions. So Kenyans, my brothers and sisters, you are now well. Protect your what?
Constitution.
Protect your democracy, your constitution, your freedoms, your spaces, your speech. Protect your resistance, because the resistance is important. Even me, I can come and resist and have sisters and brothers who say you're ours. So although Uganda is complicated, I'm a Kenyan.
You're welcome. Today, Stella, it's interesting that you bring up that we were thinking of having a discussion on democracy. And when I told you that we speak around democracy because, unbeknownst to me also, is today, 15th of September, is International Day of Democracy. I didn't even know. There's so many days. I think every day there's a day for something. I hear there's a day for left-handed people anyway. So thank you, Asura, for that information. But I mean, when I asked you, you said, what is democracy? I don't believe in democracy. Democracy is farce. And many times I think that of electoral democracy in Kenya. And I think that was very evident even when people say what we're to hear. I think it's not necessarily because people think that everything went well, or that people are so democratic and think it's okay, let's let it be. I think people are exhausted. So many people, and that's telling, didn't even register to vote. And so many people who registered, who are already registered, did not vote. Which says a lot about voter apathy and a lot about our complete distrust in the authenticity of electoral democracy in Kenya. So we wait to see what happens. I don't think, we are not holding our breath. You feel like you've been here before. Many people make promises, they always fail. So let's see, life goes on. So I don't know what that means in terms of the movement space. I don't know what that will mean in terms of activists, as one myself. I don't know what that means in terms of the energy to continue, to persevere, to continue resisting, which you seem to have endlessly, Stella, I think. You seem to never tire, even in exile. You're still writing poetry, you're still throwing your fist. How do you do that? How do you sustain? What sustains you?
Don't I look tired people?
No.
I'm sure. Okay? I think that activism demands a performance. Okay? Don't get fooled. Don't get fooled. A lot of us suffer with mental health challenges. I come and smile and we work together. We protest, we sign the petitions, we do these things, we do the rhymes, we do everything, we go to the streets if we're in Kenya. And then we go home. And we're very lonely. We have struggles for food and rent and school fees and even transport, and there's nobody among all our activist friends who knows our personal struggles. We are wounded and diseased and ill, and we're very isolated. Activism isolates you from your home, from your family, and also from within, because they say that one is the leader. Nyanzi, come and give us a poem, and you go and do a poem. Yes. Nyanzi, come and sign a petition, and you go. Nyanzi, when you're alone, me when I'm alone and I have nothing, I throw off my clothes and I use my breasts. They are too big. And I learned from that bad girl there. I salute you, Wangari Mutamazai, right? Wangari. They have a middle name for her, I've just seen.
Yeah, Muta.
Wangari Mutamazai. But it's very tiring. And yeah, she's bad.
Yeah.
I'm bad.
Yeah. She said what you're saying now. She was very exhausted. In the end, she was very exhausted.
But I'll tell you what, when we commit to a struggle, we commit. Me, when I commit, if I say to you, I love you, you're in trouble. Okay? I love Uganda. I love freedom. You can say, yeah, I got another one. I say, you go to your other one, I'm still here. When you're tired, you'll find me.
Yes.
And that is what activism demands of me, that when I have an ideal, freedom, liberation, justice, peace, equality, dignity, I want to have some dignity. I don't have dignity. When I'm tired of fighting in the morning, I'll put on my shoes. I will put on Basti. I will get my shoe that knocks, especially when I am tired. I get my shoe that knocks, and I knock it to the front line, and I knock it to the front line. And sometimes we have to act energy, to act strength. Actually, the poem, the letter that said, I know you're human, is really real. Many times when I shout the loudest, and I'm so tired, but me, I don't give up. I don't give up. People say to me, why do you undress? Like, why? This civility. There's so many things you could do. When they have taken away the pen and the voice, and me, I say my bullets and my words. My grenades are those full stops. I do one full stop. A lot of Kenya scatters. Yes. Even the microphone. But when they take away the full stops, they take away the paragraphs, they take away the words, they even touch your voice box. What do you do? You have pussy, you use your pussy. Yes. Now, okay, my brothers, you have whatever else, but you have what? Don't feel left out. I'll tell you what, for the brothers, it's not so powerful because for them, they sit like, but you look at how they're sitting all of them. Usually it's on the front line, and many times it's just judges. But ours, if you're a good girl, you taught to sit like this, and if you're from my people, you sit like this, you fold them tight, you keep them warm, and you look down. You never open your mouth, you never open your eyes, you never open your lips, you never show anything. Somebody laughs so loud. I was being funny. I'm just saying that sometimes when you're very tired, you see, if it calls for a performance, perform, and me, I'm a performer. Yes. have perfected the art of performing. When I am weakest, I will come and scare you, even scare the president for his birthday. And so for me, I'm very tired. I'm also quite old. I'm 48 years old. I feel like a 60-year-old because when people get tired, those of us who don't get tired, they leave the revolution and the liberation for us. These things of, what are you talking? Who will do the work if you don't do it? We are tired of what? In Uganda, we have been fighting for 36 years. How long have you been fighting? How long? How long have Kenyans been fighting compared to Ugandans? 63.
Well, if you're counting from 2002, or when are you counting from?
I don't know.
Don't go fighting until then.
Because if you're tired, we are just starting people.
Yeah.
You think we got to move? You Africans from Kenya. You think we got to move?
No.
We didn't.
No. So how are you getting tired? Biashara what? Okay? All I am saying is even when you're tired, drink some water. Get your tool. For me, my tool, I've told you what? Breasts. They don't need charging. My breasts. I just remove the bra. I removed it in court, I removed it in Makerere, I removed it. I tell people I'm bringing my breasts to the front. You men can't do it. You mean you can't do it? You wait for me. Okay? So why are you getting tired now? Is the corruption over?
I think, you know, the fatigue, I think, comes from
Devil's advocate. Where is he?
The fatigue comes from, Stella, a realization perhaps that you're repeating old cycles, that something new needs to be injected into the struggle because you feel like it's repetitive, that we've been here before, that history is repeating itself. There is no point of doing exactly the same thing and hoping for different.
Innovate.
Yeah.
Innovate. Renovate. Motivate. The old won't serve us. Throw it out. Get something new. Refine it. Bring new ideas. Bring new things to do. Innovate. We are humans. We're thinkers.
Yeah.
At the front line, we need thinkers. We need innovators. Okay? Innovate.
Or healers, actually.
Anything to bring new energies in. Don't do the old if it's not serving us, Nosim. Don't do it. Don't do it. Or do a bit of it. Inseminate it with something. Fertilize it with something. Have sex with it. Have intercourse. Have an orgasm. Have something new.
Yeah.
So you see, my metaphors are not sexual. They might be, but you have to interpret them. When you say to me she's vulgar, you're very busy. My poetry invites people to what? To think and interpret. I think that the part of the fatigue comes from you use your minds and your legs and you're not using your thinking. So let's think. Let us rethink the struggle. Let us rethink the liberation. It may not be government. It may be patriarchy. It might not be patriarchy. It could be capitalism. It might not be capitalism. It could be Rutoism. I don't know what
Or all of the above.
And so all I'm saying is we cannot afford to be tired because we have done the same thing. Do something new.
I want to challenge you, Stella, on that because your indefatigable nature is not.
I've just explained to you.
Well, you are in that sense because you still rise. Because some people are unable to rise, and I've been in that demographic, so najitetea pia. When sometimes you just feel completely deflated, and you, as they say, I can't even. And because I have the privilege of knowing some things about your life, I know that you've always had this fighting spirit since you were a child. So I want to take you back to, for those who don't know about our friendship, we know each other from Makerere Institute of Social Research. That's where we met. And should I tell the story again?
Which one? I have no secrets.
I was a student, Stella was a lecturer, esteemed lecturer there, researcher. Sorry, not lecturer, researcher at MISA. Actually, that was a contention. And we met, and we had, in fact, one of the things that I remember so fondly about Stella is one of the days that we came to your office. Remember, we came to your office in Sabato?
Many times.
Okay, the first time. When we came, you were very troubled. the administration, the Maiza administration, in other words, also known as the person of Mahmoud Mamdani, had decided, there were so many issues happening at the time, and was convening a disciplinary hearing within Maiza, which is actually illegal because it's supposed to be held within the university precinct. Anyway, that said, we went to Stella for help. We used to see Stella when we had to go for seminars, we would speak once in a while, but we were not always. And so we went to Stella because we knew that Stella would help us somehow, and she did. She came through. In fact, that day, Stella, if you remember, we went to, you took us to Isaac. You called your sister, you called Isaac Semaka Dick. You found us legal representation, like from nowhere. And you gave, I think it was 40,000, I'm forgetting the Ugandan currency now, 40,000 UGX. You gave that with knowing so little about us and so little about our case. You were so quick to come through. So I think that also says a lot about you as a person. It says a lot about your generosity, your expansiveness of spirit, and your ability to immediately rise to the occasion, which is not the character of everyone, or it might be something specific to you. And in fact, I want to also recall, there's a story that you told me the last time when we spoke about your childhood. Do you remember? And your father had refused to pay school fees for your sister. It's a very deep story. So Stella was very upset about that. And as the father was driving away, she went, rushed in front of his car, pulled up her skirt, and waved her ass, and was like, it was her protest, like, you have to pay this school fees. And he did. So when she says she's old, maybe she means she's an old girl in the struggle. I don't know how old you were at that time, maybe, I don't know.
I was when my sister is there, I came with my sister Stella Nyanzi. She's selling books.
Big up to Susan!
So you see, family happens here.
Yes.
But what is your point, Nosim?
No, my point is that. My point of telling these stories, and my point of showing how you have consistently been resisting authority from the time you are at a very young age is perhaps very specific to your calling as an artist. Not necessarily.
What would be the alternative? That two students come and they have a bully. Makerere, Uganda's biggest bully in the academy, is there, and two students come to me. I don't think I had money, but I had a brain, and I had connections. And I said, let's take him on.
Yeah.
Let's take on Mamdani.
Yeah.
Not love. It is not special. When an injustice is presented to you, what do? You say, no, I don't have now Mamdani.
That's what everybody said.
No. When your own father chooses to run for election and is buying goats for Nyamajoma, I don't know, Buzijobi, and your sister who has gotten very good grades has to go to university, but he's refused to pay for her, what do? You do something. You don't let the deed drive off. When you have an ass that can embarrass you. Of course it is bad. No, don't laugh. It is bad. It is a cultural. If my child did it, I'd be so angry. But because I know I would be so angry, my father would be angry. And that is what the weak have to do. We have to think there's a war. I don't have guns, I don't have money, Two students have come to me. They are foreign, a Tanzanian and a Kenyan. They're in my country. The whole university will side with their bully. What do? Hey, you do whatever you do, Nosim, because you have to save the nation. I don't think it's exceptional. If you find me exceptional and you think you should clap for me because I stepped up. You have to step up. Your nation is being. If Mamdani hadn't been stopped, it was a difficult battle. It was a difficult battle. Some of us lost big time. But we had to fight.
Yeah.
Cindy, what do? up and you say I'm small and he's big.
No, because when you ask that question, what do? You know that we went to so many people at the time. And they cautioned us,
Be the one person. For me. So people say I'm crazy. Be that one person.
Yeah, sure.
Who will look whoever you have to look to in the face and say, hey, what? Not you poo-poo. That for me is a stabilizer. Because if there's a human being who doesn't poop, then they have a catheter. Because we need to shit. Okay? And so when I use the metaphor of shit, it's an equalizer. Okay, you're who? Who is the biggest power node in this place? Mama Gina. Does a Mama Gina poop? So then we think if she poopos and I poop, that's an equalizer. Deep state.
Yeah.
Don't they poop? So if they poop and I poop, we can do something that will address them because they are as human as we are. Right? Do I make sense to you? If it embarrasses my father, it will embarrass another man. Just very simple logic, people. We can't get tired. We have to innovate. If the old methods are not, when you say to me, it's only natural that people get tired. I think it's natural that men have an erection every morning. Hardwood, right, men?
Yeah.
Okay? If a man does not get hardwood in the morning and has been getting hardwood every morning, wouldn't the whole clan know about it? Wouldn't the in-laws know about it? And the metaphor of erection shows that even when we are down, who shall get up? Right, men? I don't have a, well, I have a clit, I have a clitoris, but I know that for men, whenever there is desire, but even without desire, everything when the sun sets in the evening, we are sure it will raise. If you cook porridge, after porridge has gone down, it goes down. So even when we're tired, the brain is a muscle that must be used. How do we engage our brains to re-engage in tears? In the liberation. Whatever the oppressor is. And I think for me, I get tired and then I wake up in the morning and I'm fresh.
and you wear your shoe and you keep. How do you innovate, as you say? How do you innovate? Stella Nyanzi yourself. You do, but in the context of a social movement. If you're involved in a social movement at the moment, in the context of and the social movements that you've been involved in, or the movements, let me not limit that, the movements that you've been involved in, including the political parties. How are you able to, even if it's not fatigue, even if it's
I think first we have to be where you are to realize the old methods are not working, that we're tired, that we are fatigued, we need something new. Otherwise, there'll be quaternary between those who are innovating and those who want the traditional old ways of doing things. When the moment of, hey, we need something new happens, I think then Nosim, that they always think as borrow from history, look at history and say it worked in, I don't know, Ecuador, maybe it will work here. If it worked in Chile, maybe it will work here. And then the thinkers must think, how does a man get an erection in the morning? I think innovation should be natural and spontaneous, but maybe it's because I'm a thinker before I'm everything else. And thinking comes naturally with me, and social movements must recognize their thinkers. And the thinkers don't always come with big English. Some of the thinkers are the greatest creatives here, who wear dreadlocks and smoke banky, who look like rubble, rousers. But the greatest ideas, I think, for me, from innovation is coming together with people. And I was seated here, I was getting fertilized, I was getting ideas. So I think in community and in fellowship with others, if there's enough desire to address and innovate, the innovations come. I think because for me it happens naturally. A lot of my innovation comes from rage. I have to get angry. You have to make me mad. Like what? They're going to kill gay men in Uganda. Parliament sat. Parliament sat. And for 6 months, all they come out with is we're going to kill gay men. Okay, I'm not gay. I'm not a lesbian. I'm not trans. But I'm an old boring mother who loves one man and has missionary style, and I think, yeah. But they have thought about killing gay men, and nobody is enraged. Okay? So for me, it comes from rage. I'm like, who else is enraged? And nobody's enraged. No one is enraged when Parliament sat. And they want. And for me, the inaction, the inertia, sitting there and saying, Parliament sat and they decided they are big and we are small, that enrages me. First of all, the injustice, then the lack of response, the lack of resistance. I don't mind resisting and losing, but you have to see that I resisted. That is why even when I'm before a magistrate, I'll say, hey, she thinks what? She thinks what? She's taken me to an all-male prison instead of taking me to court. She surrounded me with male guards and male prisoners. The prisoners haven't seen pussy for I don't know how many years they've been in prison. And she thinks by taking me away from my lawyer and surrounding me by men and putting a small computer, so my voice is being projected into the courtroom, she thinks she has won. I had to think quickly, what do I do? I'm being sentenced. What do I do? Lord, what do I do? I even prayed in the name of Jesus, what do I do? I saw a bottle of water. I threw the water and I thought, ancestors, you have drunk. What do I do? She has begun reading her sentence. I don't know where the monitors are. You know when you're a prisoner, a young woman, okay, I was 47. A young woman standing before all these people. You're in a room, nobody wants me. I thought my lawyers would be there. What do? You don't sit there and say it is finished. I thought, oh my God, I'm in my periods. Okay, what do I do? If I bend over and I throw up my skirt like I did for my mother, maybe that magistrate will see. So I bent over. She's reading the sentence. I bent over and then I pulled up my skirt and then I looked back. And because I'm short, I was too short for the sort of action. So I'm thinking. So I get up again and I'm thinking. I think they thought I was speaking my pen. I was protesting in that moment. What do? You don't give up. And then I thought, okay, I've thrown the bottle of water. I saw the people who are fidgeting were in that corner. So let me station myself very well for those cameras. Okay? I was putting on my red sweater. Okay. She's reading my sentence. I don't have a lawyer. I don't know how to respond to a sentence. You know what I did? When they thought they had taken it all, you know what I did? I remembered her. I remembered that woman. You know what I did? You know. Did you see me? I took out the bazooka. I was not mad. I was not mad. People say she's fallen mad again. Nosim, when you are tired and you want to fight one last time, you will look for that one bullet. And after I had finished, I was like, hey, they're portraying me on national TV. I did not even CNN and BBC were getting me in action. And when I finished, I lifted my middle fingers at her. I'm not mad. I'm not vulgar. If anything, I'm born again. But my point is, for the resistance, if I'm going to go to jail, sentenced, because I've offended Museveni when I have not, I will desecrate the temple of justice. And I did. And then I sat back and said, take me home. I said to the prison guards, if I have spoiled any equipment, I am sorry. But I had to put up a fight for the next political prisoner. Who they ever think by putting in these places, I don't know technology, what? I used their very own systems to subvert the abuse. Politicians, especially in the opposition, use it to court justice. It's going to happen in the country. The justice system has been praised so much by the executive. Be on your guard. Be on your guard, because in my country, many people can't touch the justice system. Only the executive can. The executive in your country has started by praising the justice